In the year 2000, a tiny, failing startup walked into the office of the biggest video rental company on Earth and offered to sell itself for $50 million. The company they were pitching had 9,000 stores, billions in revenue, and 65 million customers. The startup, it was bleeding money. Nobody had heard of it. Its name was Netflix. And in that room, the executives at Blockbuster did something they would regret for the rest of their lives. They laughed. 20 years later, one of these companies is worth hundreds of billions of dollars. The other has exactly one store left on the entire planet. This is how the giant killed itself. To understand how insane this story is, you have to understand how powerful Blockbuster was. By the late 90s, a new Blockbuster store was opening somewhere in the world roughly every 17 hours. Friday night had a ritual. You drove to Blockbuster, you walked those blue carpet aisles, and you fought your family over which movie to rent. It felt permanent, unkillable, like McDonald's or Coca-Cola. But the entire empire was secretly being held up by one thing customers absolutely hated: late fees. If you returned a movie even one day late, Blockbuster charged you, and those fees weren't a small side income. At their peak, late fees made Blockbuster an estimated $800 million a year. Some reports put late fees at up to 16% of the company's entire revenue. Think about what that means. Blockbuster's most profitable product was punishing its own customers. And the legend goes that one of those angry customers was a man named Reed Hastings, who supposedly got hit with a $40 late fee for returning Apollo 13. Whether that exact story is true or not, the idea behind it was lethal. What if you could rent movies and never pay a late fee again? In 1997, Reed Hastings and Mark Randolph launched Netflix. No stores, no late fees. You picked movies online. They arrived in your mailbox, and you kept them as long as you wanted. It was clever. It was also losing enormous amounts of money. By 2000, Netflix was deep in the red and desperate. So they flew to Dallas to make a deal with the giant. The pitch was simple: buy us for $50 million, and we'll run your online arm. Blockbuster's CEO at the time, John and T.O.H. Co., sat across from them, and according to Randolph, the Blockbuster side could barely hide their amusement. They were being asked to pay $50 million for a tiny website that lost money. They said no. They laughed them out of the building. At the time, it looked like the obvious call. It would become one of the most expensive mistakes in business history. Here's the part most people don't know. Blockbuster didn't just sit back and lose, they almost won. A few years later, John Antioco actually understood the threat. He launched Blockbuster Online to fight Netflix, and he did something radical. He killed the late fees, the very thing making them hundreds of millions a year. It was working. Blockbuster Online started pulling subscribers away from Netflix. For a moment, the giant was waking up. But killing late fees cost Blockbuster around $200 million, and one very powerful man was furious about it. His name was Carl Icahn, a legendary activist investor who had bought a huge stake in Blockbuster. Icahn thought Antioco was burning money chasing the internet. What followed was a civil war inside the company, boardroom against CEO, the future against the present, and it got personal. It even blew up over Antioco's bonus. In 2007, Antioch Co., the one man who actually saw what was coming, was pushed out. The new leadership reversed course. Late fees came back. Investment in online slowed down. Blockbuster unfixed the one thing it had fixed. And right at that exact moment, in 2007, Netflix did something that ended the war for good. Netflix launched streaming. No envelopes, no mailbox, no waiting, just press play. The mailbox war was over before Blockbuster even understood the new game had started. From there, it was a free-fall. Stores closed by the hundreds, then the thousands. In 2010, Blockbuster, the unkillable giant, the company that laughed at a $50 million offer, filed for bankruptcy. By 2014, nearly every corporate store in America was gone. Netflix, the company they could have bought for $50 million, went on to be worth hundreds of billions and change how the entire planet watches television. Today there is exactly one Blockbuster store left on Earth, a single shop in Bend, Oregon, now basically a museum to a dead empire. People fly in just to take a photo. $50 million. That's all it would have taken. The giant had the money, the customers, and even the answer in its own hands, and it threw all of it away. Because the most dangerous moment for any empire isn't when it's weak, it's when it's so strong it forgets it can die. That's the rise and fall of Blockbuster. And if you think that was a brutal collapse, wait until you hear how Nokia went from owning the entire phone market to nothing because of a single meeting.